G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because, oh boy, the mighty Hurricanes lost at home to the Blues. This was, I saw the final scrum, so the Hurricanes had an opportunity to kind of, score at the end, right in front of the the try line. They botched the line out. They had an opportunity to go for the scrum on their own fear with the penalty. They decided to go for the line out, and then they coughed it up. And then there was a lot of confusion at the end. The Blues basically tried to cheat a little bit. They tried to bring on Finlay Christie, claiming that their reserve halfback had a HIA, and they literally had to like pause the game for like 5 minutes for the independent match doctor to look at the video footage to see if he actually got hit in the head, because the law is that you can't replace somebody with somebody that has come off the field, i.e. Finlay Christie, who played in the first half. They can't put Finlay Christie back on if it's an HIA or a blood bin. And if it's just an average injury, then he can't be replaced by someone who's already been on the field. So they have to dig into one of their traditional replacements to the remaining replacement to replace, which Blue did have. The Blue did have number 22 that still hasn't been utilized, so they could have just put him on. But instead, they tried to bring on Finlay Christie because he's the number 22 is not whatever his name is. Let's get his Corey Evans, because Corey Evans was not technically a number 9, so they wanted to bring Finlay Christie back on as 9. So they try to cheat a little bit, the Blues. And this was the first time I've ever seen this, where they literally had to get a doctor with the referee standing next to him to get an independent decision whether or not he actually Sam Nook, by the way, had a head contact at some point in leading into the end. It was I just think just be honest and just take the player off, and especially if you still had a player they could play on, right? The issue comes obviously if Sam Nook was taken off and they didn't have anybody left, then they have the player play in the bin. Then I could understand in that situation you wanted to try to pretend there's a HIA and so you don't lose a player, right? But you had Corey Evans on the bench. They still wanted to get that little bit of extra by bringing back on Finlay Christie, and wasted a lot of time. That was really, really bad to see from the Blues. But regardless, the scrum as well, in the final scrum, the main key here was that the Hurricanes actually marched forward. I thought it should have been a penalty to the Hurricanes because, yes, the scrum wheeled, but you could argue that the Blue was wheeling as well. If the scrum just pivoting like this, right, you could say that the Blues were wheeling on this side. But the Hurricanes were going forward. The penalty should have been given to the Hurricanes for that, for actually getting the forward momentum. And it was the Blues that was causing the wheel, you can argue, because they couldn't hold the weight. That's generally how it went. Overall, I thought Gardner's performance was just way over the top. And sometimes the referee, especially nowadays, if a player is if the players say doing something that they're not supposed to, sometimes like around the ruck, if they're trying to put the hand in to grab the ball, usually the referee just said no, don't touch it. And if they did, and if they just kind of let it go, they generally just play on. But Gardner was just like, yep, that's a penalty. Yep, that's a penalty. Yep, that's a penalty. And I do think that the both teams weren't that disciplined as well. It's not just Gardner's fault. The teams were at fault as well. But I do think that sometimes the referee just goes, okay, you're off. Take a step back. And if they generally don't do anything to interfere with the game, you don't. Even with offside, if they don't do anything if they don't make a tackle and you're slightly offside, sometimes they just let it go. But Gardner was just like, yep, you're offside, you're offside, you're offside. And the players weren't even like involved in anything, sort of thing. I feel that's probably a bit too harsh. There was 3 yellow cards in the first half, and 1 yellow card in the one red card to Hoskins Tutu with a headshot to Peter Larkai. I thought that was probably just a yellow. I didn't think that was that bad. I thought it was the bunker reviewed it and said it was dangerous and high, but I just didn't think. I thought that was probably just a yellow. I didn't think that was too big of a too big of a dangerous tackle. It was he just went in a little high. Very tall guy. Both guys are pretty tall. Ended up in a wrong position. And also in the first half there was an interesting situation where both the Hurricanes loose hair props were sent off. There was a sent off for taking out a player without a ball after repeated penalties warning. The first Xavier Numia, and then in the second half, and then he was replaced by Raketo Stones, who lost the scrum, got dominated in the scrum because they had a player in the bin, right, missing a player in the forwards. They got dominated in the scrums, which was, by the way, I didn't quite understand this, right? Yeah, so yeah. Anyway, they taken off Brad Shields, who's basically a third lock, instead of taking off Kurifi or Lakai, who are smaller and less often. I think it's less of an impact in the scrum. But yeah, so they taken off Brad Shield, and anyway, immediately leading to another scrum loss to a penalty try, and in the event of penalty try, someone has to go off for a yellow card. So the reserve prop came on, immediately got a send off. And if the Blues were smart, they should have gone for a scrum at some point, and that would have sent Hurricanes down to 12 players because they would have gone to uncontested scrum, and Hurricanes would have penalized another player for initiating uncontested scrum, but the Blues didn't go for that. But ultimately, I thought this was a really good performance by some of the youngsters on the Hurricanes team. Cameron Roygar was amazing. Harry Godfrey really stepped up to the game after the big names like Jordie Barrett and in the 4-pack, Ardis Savea left. I think especially Jordie Barrett. This is his first season in Super Rugby. He was outstanding tonight. Goal kicking were on point, and scoring a try as well with some good heads up rugby. By far the best, I guess, playmaker on the field tonight, despite having Beauden Barrett and stuff on the field. It was really, really good. The Blues, on the other hand, their game plan from last year of just jamming forwards down your throat has completely just evaporated. They did not have the physicality to match up to do that this season. In addition, they were pretty poor at the breakdowns. The Hurricanes were able to force a number of crucial turnovers against the Blues. Despite having the more stacked All Blacks team, the Blues weren't very, very good in my opinion. They winning this game, they should have won this game much more comfortably in my opinion. Ultimately, I thought Rieko Ioane was once again pretty average. Let me know your thoughts on that. He looked a bit chubby. Is it just me? He looked a bit fat. So I think that he looks slower maybe because of it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Rieko. And he was the one that got sent off as well by the Blues. He had a yellow card in the first half for the Blues, and he was the one that received it. So yeah, let's have a look at the match stats of the game. 2 tries to 5. Is that right? 2 tries to 5 for the Hurricanes. Lots of penalties to go kicked from the Hurricanes. They were pretty conservative in some of their attacks. 460 run minutes of the Hurricanes to the 408 for the Blues. 7 turnovers conceded of the Hurricanes, 10 for the Blues. 120 tackles of the Hurricanes, 23 missed tackles. It's okay. Blues, 197 tackles made, 28 tackles missed. A little bit high, I think. 22 kicks in hand for Hurricanes, 21 kicks in hand for Blues, 100% from Godfrey. Really, really well done. 1 miss by Beauden. The All Black superstar should not be missing. Line out, 1 loss for the Hurricanes out of 12, 2 loss out of 8 for the Blues. Scrum, no scrum loss, but the Blues were dominant in the first half, and I think the Hurricanes came back in the second half and asserted their dominance in the scrummaging. Like I said, Angus Garner handed out a number of business cards, 2 yellow card against Hurricanes, 1 yellow and 1 red against the Blues. Overall, 12 penalties for both teams. A bit on the high side these days for club rugby, and probably a bit high on the high end of the club rugby there. One of the main issues that Angus Garner raised was it's not just the number of penalties given out. There was a number of stacking penalties under pressure. So teams were giving out 2, 3, 4 penalties in a row, and that all counts as 1 penalty essentially. So the actual penalties are higher than 12. So just keep that in mind. So maybe it says 12, but it's actually higher because there's a number of them times where there's overlapping penalties against the same team. So let's have a look at a quick recap of the game. So yeah, immediately from the get-go, the Blues were dominant. They kind of realizing they have a bit of a scrum advantage. They were there was actually an early penalty to the Hurricanes to kick 3 about 9 minutes in. So Blues had an advantage. They went for the scrum option, and then immediately the They piled on pressure. There was a penalty warning, and then the Hurricanes lose their prop, made a tackle without a ball, yellow card off the field, and then the Blues immediately went for another scrum, penalty try, another yellow card to the reserve, lose their prop as well. So 7 points to 3 for the Blues, about 17 minutes into the game. The 21 minutes into the game, the Hurricanes, despite having a player in the bin, they'll play pretty well. 2 players in the bin play pretty well without 2 props. Lots of multiple penalties advantages. Repeated was about 5 or 6, and then Riku Ioane got sent off as the repeated offender. Hurricanes kicked 3 points here. 22 minutes, 6 points to 7. 26 minutes in the game, Hoskins, so 2-2. There was more penalties against Hurricanes. Basically, no penalty. There was a midfield play where Hoskins was sort of pick and go around the rocks, got himself through, and then offload to Tuipulotu, who went through. So he got through. Tuipulotu pick and go again, went through and linked up with Riccatelli, running for a try. Just all forwards offloading to each other. Really well done. 14 points to 6. 28 minutes into the game, there was a loose ball, and it was kicked through by the Blues, but Godfrey scooped it up and then looked up in front of him. There was just a massive gap with the Blues, thinking that they're going to have a runaway try here. And then Godfrey just ran straight through a gap. Try time, 13 points to 14. 20 minutes into the game, the Blues were, again, piling into the Hurricanes half. There was a penalty advantage, and eventually the Suafoa reached through for the try. 13 points to 21. 34 minutes into the game, just before half time, Hurricanes got on a penalty, kick another 3, 16 points to 21. 40 minutes into the game, Hurricanes gets another penalty, 19 points to 21. At this point, you kind of feel like Hurricanes don't have the confidence to score, which maybe is the reason why they couldn't get it done at the end of the game, because they didn't have the confidence throughout the game. And then going to last play, you wanted to score. Nobody's got the idea for it, right? Nobody's got the consistency to do that. 59 minutes into the game, there was some good hands from the Hurricanes just between the few players, but a little heartbreak. Peter Larkite was running free, and Hurricanes were really close, pounding through eventually. Hohepa, a nice pass to Naholo out wide, going in for the try, 26 points to 21. 61 minutes into the game, another turnover penalty to the Hurricanes, take another 3. I thought, yeah, probably should have gone for the line out there. 29 points to 21 here. 67 minutes to the game, another penalty to the Blues, and this was right in front of the goalpost. They decided to not take the 3, and I think that's the difference between winning and losing. Blues went for a quick tap. They go for the right-hand side, crash close to the try line, and they quickly switch back to the left-hand side, and Hoskins Sututu, big man hiding behind, just rammed straight through. 29 points to 28. 70 minutes into the game, there was another, again, Blues were down by 1 point. Blues were just attacking center field. Nice hands, wide ball out to Mark Talea. He still had about 40 meters out, and he had defenders in front of him, just completely put the gas on, and he outran all the defenders out wide and went straight through into the corner, flying into the corner for a dunk. 29 points to 33. 74 minutes, Hoskins Sututu send off, red card. That's pretty much it. The last play, I thought the Hurricanes should have got the penalty call for the Blues for the wheel, because they were going forward, and Angus Garner did not think that was the case. Yeah. Final score, a little bit disappointing as a Hurricanes fan. 29 points to 33. Let me know your thoughts about this game. And it's Blues. Yeah, I don't know. The Blues looking pretty shaky. The Hurricanes not looking quite good either this year. So maybe outside of the Chiefs, I think the Australian teams might have a good chance against all of these. Pretty much every other New Zealand rugby team had the Australian teams have a chance of beating. Unlike previous years, it was pretty daunting. There's a good opportunity here, I think. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. And see you guys later for the Aussie Derby. Cheers.